what's going on, everybody? Dale Valor here from Modern Valor Dating. Listen, I have not done one of these in a minute where I'm sitting down with another coach just talking about game and life and everything that I guess how can I put it? I guess what interests you and your day-to-day existence and what you're going through and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to have a great conversation. I can't wait to get it started. And this guy here, man, he's been around a long time. He's been doing it. And we're working on some big things that we can't really talk. And the reason we're going to be doing big things, and I'm doing big things with him, is because he does big things. All right. I'm talking about Jared Psych Laurence from Modern Flirting, and we want to sit down and have a conversation. So we're doing it right now. Here it is. Let's get it. What's up, Jared?
What's up? Thank you for that great introduction. I love it.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt, dude. I get excited, man. I'm an excitable kind of guy. You know what I mean? So
the energy's contagious. I love it.
Oh, dude, that's what's up, man. I will tell you the God's honest truth. Anytime I get an idea about like, oh, we should do this, you know, with Modern Valor Dating, I have to talk to my team first, because I immediately, the wheels start turning and I'm like, all right, I get all excited and all like, oh, I want to tackle this. I want to get ready. I want to go. I got to talk to him first to make sure that it's actually a good idea and not just something psychotic that just like popped up in my head. Like, oh my God, it would be awesome if we rented a bunch of balloons. Like, what? Oh, Dale, that's not it. Not a good idea.
I'm the exact same way. I'm very like overly optimistic sometimes. I'm like, I want to run with things. I want to go, like sitting down and waiting for shit to happen. I'm like, let's try this out. Usually, like just like you, my team has to be like, well, realistically, how we're going to do it. And then it's just kind of connecting the dots. And once they can connect the dots and see how everything plays out, I love it. I start taking off from there.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Same exact thing over here, bro. So listen, man, you know, I did your podcast earlier in the week, got released yesterday, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And I had a great time, man. It was awesome. And any of you guys watching this, if you haven't checked out Jared's podcast, hop over to Modern Flirting, go to the podcast section, go deep into it, you know, fall down that rabbit hole, man, because you're going to find a wealth of information that's going to apply to you, that's going to help you level up, man. So I was honored and privileged to be a part of that. So, yeah, man, had a great time. And so, listen, man, you know, I'm a big fan of hearing people's backstories and where they came from up until where they are now, right? How, like, the obstacles that they overcame and the adversity that they had to battle through and all that kind of stuff, man. And we've all, you know, all of us, any of you guys watching this, we've all overcame adversity, large and small. If you haven't overcame adversity, it's a good thing you're watching this, because it's something that you're going to deal with sooner or later. If you have not dealt with adversity, then I guess you've never left your house. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, like, kind of give me a little bit of your story, bro.
All right. So I'm a little bit old school at this point. I got into this about 15 years ago, back in 2006. All right. It was very different than the way it is now. Back then, in those days, everything was very hush-hush, was very secretive. Actually, I'm going to ahead myself. Let me go before that. Even pre-2006, early 2000s, is I was this kid who grew up getting bullied, had no friends, had no idea what to do with women. I got good grades. I listened to my mom and dad, but I was not living a very fulfilling life. I was severely depressed. I was on antidepressants. I really just didn't like who I was at my core. And I saw it because I'm looking at everybody else having fun, everyone else having all these experiences, dating, not me, right? So I'm kind of the guy who, you know, freshman year comes into high school. I'm trying to offer to do a girl's math homework just to get a hug. And and then said, no, I'm not giving you the hug. Fast forward to sophomore year, I remember I had two friends in high school. One of them took me to my first house party. So excited, couldn't believe it. And the girl who's throwing the party goes in front of me. She goes, "Why the fuck did you invite Jared?" Yep. I then in junior year.
That tugs at my heart, man.
Junior year, I finally get my first girlfriend, my first real girlfriend. I was a foreign exchange student. She didn't know any better. She didn't know about my clout, I guess.
Didn't know English.
Yeah, so she had some English, but she didn't really know. She didn't know any better, right? And I was so excited. I was such a hopeless romantic. I'm going to marry this girl. And she's like, I'm saving myself for marriage. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait for you, baby. And we did it for a year and a half. I'm saving myself for her. We're going to get married. I bought a fucking star for this girl that's still named after her. Yeah. Super hopeless romantic.
Wow.
And then a year and a half into it, we break up.
Yeah.
2 months later, she loses her virginity to some random guy. In 2 months. Senior year of high school. I mean, I can go story. Senior year of high school is the infamous.
We're not even out of high school yet.
Senior year of high school, I find a girl online. So this is probably my most famous story. Senior year of high school, I find a girl on MySpace that never been to prom before. And I'm like, I've seen the movies. I know if I take her to prom, I'll get laid. It'll happen. I'll lose my virginity. I'm still a virgin here. And I get this girl to come to prom with me. She's never been to prom before. She comes with me. And long story short, at the end of the prom, I get to watch her go into a bathroom with another guy and fuck that guy.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So
wow.
I don't care how bad you get. So people see me now with women and living the dating life and being active and whatever 15 years later, but it's really important they understand where I came from. That was not the case. Everything came at a time back in 2006 where there really wasn't much. There was like a book on the topic, right? It was like really underground layers, they call them. It was very pick-up-y. No one knew how this really worked. There were ideas, but I just kind of went to the rabbit hole. I just needed that spark, that concept of this can work. Some guys can get better and make it. And I just went down that rabbit hole, man. I dedicated my life to it. When I went to college, I majored in psychology and spent 7 years in formal psychological training. I went into grad school, getting my degrees to understand why people do what they do and pedagogy, how people learn. And through that time, I have applied it to my teachings. I've applied it to my course. I got myself where I wanted to be, like I would consider mastery level in about 3 years doing it. And then I just loved it so much. So I started helping, the guys around me locally and saw the impact I had on them. And then I literally just got discovered by all the different dating coaches. So like, who the fuck's this guy? He's really good and he's teaching all these people. So they started like passing me around like a peace pipe. I've worked with almost every major company out there back in the day for the last 15 years. And that was a blessing and a curse because I was able to help a lot of people. I was able to get exposed to I've been out with the top, I can literally say I've been out with the top seducers in the world. Like guys like Hypnotica and Adam and Sin, the Mystery, guys like, and guys who are no names, guys like Albert Estrada locally here, guys like Drew over in San Diego, like guys like Sancho, the Naturals, who no one's ever going to hear about or find about, but like these are the best that I've ever seen. And over 15 years, I've got to, the blessing is I got to be around them. I got to be mentored by legends like Johnny Saporn. I'm going to do more shout outs, like see what really, really works at a high level. But it's because I also saw the behind the scenes of how most, I'm not going to say names, but how a lot of companies, a lot of guys don't really care. They put a lot of stock in the marketing. They put a lot of stock in the ego stroking of I'm the best, I'm the man. But the actual care about the students, the actual follow through, the actual mentorship process, it really let me down. And I believe, and that is why I founded Modern Flirting for the first time. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to put everything I have into a program, into something where the key what do you call it? Not business statement, the value, the key mission statement. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Is everyone who walks through the door to be a success story.
Yeah.
And that caring about every single student, being the guy who will go the extra mile, because I've lived that life and I know what it's like for every guy who's struggling and not knowing how to break out of it, especially for guys who've been let down in the past. A lot of guys, they come to me because they've been other companies, they've tried other stuff, and they have been let down. I've heard the stories of other coaches just literally running away in boot camp, or not. Honestly, I've heard stories of them not even showing up.
I've heard that. I've heard very similar tales. Yeah. So, and that's so dope, man. And that's why, like, I like what you're doing. I like your style. I like, the messages that the content that you've been putting out and all that kind of stuff, because I know you give a shit, man, and that's what resonates with me, is guys that actually care. This is like, I tell people all the time, man, it's like, yeah, I mean, we have to get money for what it is that we do, because like, hey, look, man, these lights here, they got to stay on, so in order for us to keep moving forward and all that stuff, like, it takes money to get the message out there and all that kind of thing on a big level,
That thing is an investment principle. Like,
right.
Here's a key thing. People value things at what they value. So get something for free, they're going to value it at that level.
Exactly. I'm with you 100%.
They're going to be invested in value it at that level. They're not going to fuck around. It also screams for me which guys are serious. Again, my mission statement is I want to make sure everyone who walks through the door is a success story. If they're working with me, I need to know they're committed. This is a priority. This is not something they just want to dabble in. Look, if you want free information, awesome. We have your YouTube channel. You guys can check out the channel, the Modern Flirting one on YouTube.
Yeah, subscribe to that point, by the way. But go ahead.
There's free stuff out there.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a super massive change, good luck with that. Like, that's, to each their own. But I always want to work with the guys who value mentorship, who really want to deep dive into this, who are as hardcore as I am about and the whole money stuff. It's like, yes, it is a job, and I pay the drill girls, the models that I have who work with my guys. I pay their coaches. I work with phenomenal coaches. Shout out to Jay McDaniel, who throws. Yeah,
that's my dude. That's a homie.
Cosmo from the VH1 show, the pickup artist.
Yep.
So it is a business, obviously, but at the end of the day, I always want everybody who comes to me to be like, yo, you should charge more for that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, man, it's like, just like you said, it's an investment on their part, on the student's part, to take it seriously. Because, like, look, I know if I'm going to pay money into something, that I want to squeeze every cent of value out of that money that I'm investing. If I'm not investing anything, there might be value for me to get and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to take it as seriously as the thing that I did put money into, because I put money into it. I want to get back that return on investment, right? So, like, we've got a free program that's coming out next week. transformyourdatinglife.com. So I guess, I don't know. I guess this is the other side of the coin. We all, yourself, myself, and like a plethora of other coaches, we put out free content. We throw value out there and things like that. But here's the deal. And this is one of the things that we talk about in that program. It's like, okay, look, we are talking in generalities. We're talking to a breadth of people that are all dealing with their own little individual problems and sticking points, right? So in order for us to help that person get over their own specific sticking points, we need to work together one-on-one. I can give you general concepts and general advice, which may work for you or it might not, depending on your situation. But at the end of the day, it's like, look, you're the one with the problem. We're the ones with the solution. Let's make it happen.
Right.
you know? So you have a psychology degree, correct?
I do. Yep. I'm a trained therapist.
Okay. Do you have a practice or no?
Not, this is my entire, I literally got the degree and then said, psych, I'm out. I'm doing this.
Hold on, pull up the degree, put it in the wallet. Like, yeah, we'll see you later.
My parents are very disappointed. Let's just put it that way. The moment I got done with grad school, well, here's the thing. I was coaching while I was in college.
Yeah.
So, and at that time, I'm like, I love this. I don't want to be sitting on a couch listening to people's problems. Now, I did work for a suicide and crisis center for a while. You know, I helped people there, but here's the thing with the people don't understand. With therapy and with counseling, look, behind the scenes is what they tell us as therapists. The goal is to make people happy and okay with how things are. That's really kind of with coaching, with what we do, the goal is to say, let's get you to a place where you'll be happy. It's like, let's give results, let's get goals. With therapists, it's like, look, you're here. Let's just make you okay and happy with where you're at and feel good. We don't, as therapy, they don't give advice. They explore options and see what feels good to you. And that didn't sit well with me. Now, some guys do need it. Some guys are just so depressed and so bad that they're like, look, you need a certain level of being okay with things to move on, to take action steps forward. But for me, man, I want the guys who are like, look, I just want an answer. Help me. Get me out. Tell me what to do. Give me structure. Like I've seen it work pretty well. Like, don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of great guys. Sorry, my dog's being a little bitch. I see a lot of great like instructors and guys who get into like the woo stuff, the spiritual, the vague vortex of whatever. I love it and it's cool. There's some guys who really respond to that stuff, like the meditation or whatever. That's not me. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. I am more let's see what the data says. Let's make a spreadsheet on that. Let's track your progress. Let's back everything up by actual like psychological sciences. Every single thing that I teach, I show the data behind it, whether it's my experience, students' experience, or this is just understood teachings and workings in place. Like that is my passion and love. I am always like, look, if you can't prove it, I don't want to hear about it. If you can't break it down to its detail, what are you talking about? Like go up to that girl and be alpha means nothing to someone who doesn't understand what is that, right? So I like my type of teaching style and the way I learned myself is the more analytical approach.
Yeah, and I gotta believe that having a background in psychology has to help you immensely in your coaching. Even though like
and in my learning, I started my psychology major when I was still learning this. So I remember taking classes just to learn this better. Like I would take it's like evolutionary class, social psychology class, behavioral classes. I would literally, I'm like, fuck the counseling one. I want the ones that have to do with attraction building or how people operate. So I'm over here studying like cognitive balance theory, which you ask any dating coach, you have no idea what that means, but it's essentially the breakdown of how calibration works. I'm studying the original cases for social proof, pre-selection. I'm watching how to trigger what's called immediacy behaviors, which is a more detailed explanation in a community they call IOIs, right? But there's actual it was so interesting to be reading a pickup book, for instance, or seeing something where it's only very barely fleshed out back in 2006, 2007, and then going to my class in my library in my college or university and checking out books or reading psychological articles on related topics and being like, oh my God, there's a whole other side to this that no one even gets to see unless you're taking classes. So I thought it was really interesting learning it for myself.
Yeah. I mean, I could see how that would, those two things are very, very compatible, psychology, obviously, and game, those two things meld together like butter on bread, but one question that I would have for you is somebody who's been through that, outside of kind of what you alluded to a little bit, like the industry, the therapy industry in general, and I think most people kind of realize this, maybe they don't, I don't know, but I've always kind of thought they kind of breadcrumb people along, like you said, like get them to a place of stability where they feel okay, and then just keep milking them as long as you can, right?
Don't get me wrong, there are some really great therapists out
Oh
there.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Who I don't think are in it to milk people, but you have to realize this is how we were taught as a therapist.
Yeah.
We are taught that that healing and therapy is a years and years, a decade-long process.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're literally taught in school. It's like, look, if you're going to help this guy, just understand it's going to take 5 to 10 years. And like that's just how this works, right? And I'm like, again, fuck that. I like, really struggling and going hard on my own. I got better at this in 3 years, and I didn't have me, So I'm able to get my students results in months now, which that's just not heard of in therapy. Like you can't do that in those kind of situations. But again, it's also because we have an ability to do things that therapists can't do. A therapist, you go in there, you meet them once a week. Well, cool. What about every other fucking day? What about when you need them? Like guys in my program, for instance, we have coaching calls every single day. They can reach out to me whenever they want. We have girls they can practice with, get feedback from. We do like I go out with the guys. It offers a boot camp where we can go out, take them in field. They can see me in action. I can see them and point out what they're doing right and wrong. There is so much more hands-on stuff that guys like you and I can do that you can never do as a therapist. Like, you
let me hold your hand into this job interview. Like, okay, so I'm interviewing for this job. Oh, let me introduce my therapist, by the way. They're sitting right there to say.
You can't, like, they can't. It's a Ferrari racing a tricycle. Like, it's very limited what they can actually do here.
Right. And so I guess what I'm driving at though is what are some of the outside of what you already just kind of said, what are some of the I guess technical things that, how can I put it, man? Some of the like technicalities of therapy and then technicalities of game that bump heads,
okay,
that aren't compatible. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, that you want them that align or that are like that don't align?
Yeah, that don't align. That's commonly taught to people who are coming. Look, I'm an aspiring therapist, right? I'm going to school. I'm trying to get my degree and all that kind of stuff. But also in game, what are some of the things that I'm going to hear that are not going to jive with me as somebody who is well studied game?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So normally I try to align them. What's not aligned, I would say, is the psychoanalytic techniques, which is highly like Freudian psychology or neo-Freudian psychology, Jungian psychology, all that kind of stuff. It's essentially, there's no evidence for it, which is crazy when you think about any science. It's like a whole science that is not backed by evidence. Freud was actually called out. Like, all right, where is the proof for this id, this ego that you talk about, this whatever, the super ego? Where is the proof of the Oedipus complex and all this stuff, right? That you hear all the time in pop culture. Yeah. And Freud said, I don't need proof. I know I'm right.
Okay.
That was it. That's how he defended it. So,
but it's kind of been dismissed a lot. Like,
yeah, it has. But there are people who believe, but there has been branches of it that continue. Okay. A lot of people talk about really intense previous traumas, right? Where we have to go and explore that and do that, but like do deep inner work by exploring our childhood and what went on there in order to take action and learn a skill and learn this stuff. I call bullshit on this. Like, I think personally, if you want to develop that new identity, do the outer work. Like, do the things that you need to do to change behaviors and change the way you think. And this is backed up again. Like, everyone thinks I can't go approach women until I get to the root cause of my approach anxiety. And I need to spend years uncovering and unraveling my childhood to figure out why I have this approach anxiety, what happened to me in this trauma before I can ever even think about approaching. Bull fucking shit. Like, no, go out and desensitize yourself. Use the behavioral conditioning process known as systematic desensitization, and get the fuck over it. Like, think forward, not backward. You're having all these bad thoughts. Use cognitive reframing psychology to change the way you think, track your thoughts, change your thoughts, because your thoughts lead to your mindsets lead to your beliefs lead to your identity. You can make a deep level identity change by putting the outer work. And that means by focusing on controlling the only two things that are in your control. And that is your thinking, your thoughts, monitoring your thoughts, reframing the negative thoughts, having a clear idea of who you want to be, how that person thinks, and watching how you're thinking and making a daily practice. And number two, changing your behaviors, changing your actions so that they align with the identity you're trying to create. I'll make a recommendation on this. The best I've read all these psychological articles and books and journals, whatever. The single best piece of work on making a real identity change is not this crazy inner working stuff. It's not this analytical techniques. It's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. And this book was written in the 70s, not even by a psychologist. It was written by a plastic surgeon who really saw how people took on new identities. And sometimes it had nothing to do with facial reconstruction or anything that was going on. It had to do with how they reframe things in their mind, when they visualize, when they put in the work. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna be stuck the same way, But I've never met anyone who got incredibly good with women. Again, I've been doing this for 15 years. I have never met a single person. And if somebody's watching this, I would love to be the first. Call me on this, and Dale, call me on this too if I'm wrong. I've yet to meet a guy who got incredibly good with women by sitting under a tree meditating nonstop, and then all of a sudden he got good with women. I've yet to meet a guy who all he did was journal and explore his past, and then had some realization, and all of a sudden is good with women. I've yet to see it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Like, I agree 1,000,000,000%, man. And I'm gonna check that book out, man, because that's crazy interesting. That
incredible. It's the best inner game book I've ever read. It's the single best inner game book I've ever read in my life. It's mandatory reading for everyone who comes into my program.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you're not advocating that people don't meditate, right? You're just saying don't take it to a place of where I'm going to meditate my way out of any situation that I'm in, right?
Right. So here's my stance on meditation. I was a Buddhist for 2 years. I went to a literal temple to meditate on a weekly basis and learn, like actual Buddhist style, meditation. Now, here's what it's for. Meditation is for calming the nerves, which, yes, can be applied to anxiety. It is used for focus. Real meditation, honestly, focuses and strengthens the mind to have some clarity and to focus. It helps with like ADHD, for instance. It does help to an extent make you more calm and feel peaceful. That's it. That's where the benefits, and in extreme cases, it can be used for pain management as well. That is the benefits of meditation. People have taken it though, but here's the allure. Meditation means sitting around doing nothing. Obviously, you are doing something. You're focusing your thoughts and whatever. But at the end of the day, you're sitting around in silence. It's a great practice to bring more calm and peace in your mind and focus your mind more. But it doesn't teach you social skills. And the issue is people have taken this, which is a great concept, meditation. Meditation can be good, right? But by itself, people think of it as this is I've literally talked to guys who are like, it's the end all be all, where once you meditate, you'll reach like nirvana and you'll understand how everything works. And, you will spiritually be this new being that can just energetically and magically attract women. Again, just bull fucking shit. Like, no, that's not what it actually does.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I mean, that's like, to me, meditation, like I meditate, man, and but at the same time, I realize that, like, okay, so if I sit around and I meditate all day, every day, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my businesses. I'm probably going to be homeless. You know what I mean? And then I have all the time in the world to meditate out there on the corner, you know? So the thing is, it's like, look, it's much like anything else. There's things in your life that you have to prioritize and have non-negotiables in your life. And you take responsibility for those, and you discipline yourself to do it. But that doesn't mean that's all you do, right? There's other facets of life and other areas of life that's not going to help you. If I'm sitting there meditating and a guy comes up with a pistol and is going to rob me, my meditation is not going to keep him from robbing me.
Right. You need to learn self-defense. You need to learn how to defend yourself and his gun. But people have that spiritual, mystical thing towards meditation where they treat it as a end all be all. It is a healthy practice. It's great to do, but it's like running. No one in the world is like, I'm gonna run more, and that's how I'm gonna get better with women by running more. Right. Nothing wrong with running. Nothing wrong with being a runner. Right. But it does nothing to do with this specific skill we're learning. If you want to defend yourself, if you want to win a fight, you don't meditate more. You learn the skills of fighting. If you want to get better at dating and with women and with social circle building, which is what we specialize in Modern Flirting, we have the 3 funnels. We have dating funnel. We have the online dating funnel, how to meet girls online. We have what I call the vortex funnel, how to go out and about every day and meet women in your everyday life or at parties, whatever, and bring them into your vortex. And then we have social circle funnel, how to literally be a local celebrity and befriend high status guys and beautiful women around you. Right. These all 3 of these, whether it's vortex, cold approach, online dating, social circle, these are specific skills that people have to learn, and they're not taught in school. They're not taught by mom and dad. They're not taught by society. If anything, we are given red herrings. We're completely misread to say, like, look, it'll happen when it happens. You just got to be yourself, and just vague stuff like just be confident and go and
staple advice.
Yeah, but what frustrates me, and this is the biggest impact I want my life to have in the world, is to get that shit and let people understand, no, this is a real thing, a real science, a real skill set like anything else. Imagine how crazy it'd be if someone's like, I want to lose weight and I want to get in shape. And someone's like, okay, look, here's what you do. You just gotta be yourself. And you get a 6-pack, okay? Yeah, but how? How do I do it? All right? By being authentic. When you eat, I want you to eat and be really genuine as you eat what's around you. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? If someone's like, business. How do I go about and build a business and get really, really, really wealthy? Well, you just gotta wait until the money finds you. And then, it'll just happen. It'll just happen. You can't force it. You can't force it in business. You gotta just let things flow. And when it happens, it happens. And you just be yourself, and a business will spring up around you. Everyone knows how ridiculous these things sound. Right. Given to the other key core areas of life. But when we talk about socializing with others, when we talk about dating, that's when this icky, weird feeling comes up where Disney programming in our heads, society programming in our heads says, no, this is different. This is not like the others. Because it involves people, it's mystical, it's magical. It's a thing that needs to be organic and natural. Like, we love these words, organic and natural and genuine and authentic. In reality, though, we understand there's a science behind it. What works, what doesn't. I understand Robert Cialdini's persuasion principles, that likability, scarcity, commitment, authority, the reciprocation. I understand these things influence people. They do. It's not a magical thing. We have tracked it. We understand that people are more likely to do a certain behavior when they see social proof. If you see 2 restaurants, I actually saw a perfect example of this in New York. I was doing a boot camp in New York. There are 2 identical carts. There are 2 literal hot dog stands on each side of the street. And one has a line of 50 people. Right. The other has a line of 2. Why were those people? Why is the 50th person waiting in line at that hot dog cart? Why the hell would he go in that long ass line for that hot dog when there's an identical one across the street? Social proof. He saw the long line and he goes, there must be something about this cart that makes this food so good. It's predictable. We see it. So people need to like kind of wake up to this and go, look, I'm not saying don't be yourself. I'm not saying like, be fake and do what works for me or what other people is. I'm saying is treat this like a science, figure out those skills, experiment, like practice, experiment, get a mentor, actually understand that you can learn this. It's a teachable, learnable skill. I feel once people make that switch, they really get that, like that really flips on, that anybody can learn this, anybody can figure this out if given the right tools and resources. That's where the real magic happens. To me, that's where people can really, really take off. And that's what I was missing until I learned, oh my God, other people are doing this and learning this. That's amazing. That means I can learn it. And that's what's literally saved my life. I might not be here. It was going into like suicidal thoughts before I found what I found, before I found the industry. Like I may not be alive if I didn't make that realization. So I'm so passionate about helping others get rid of this. I just got to wait and magic needs to happen. No, you have control over your life. It's not a comfortable process, but that's what I tell my guys. You give me your comfort. Like I'm going to rock you out of your comfort zone. I will give you control over your life, control over your social interaction so that they can start going the way you want them to.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I like that a lot. And that's like one of the things that drives me so crazy is that like what you're saying is 100% true, man. I can vouch for that in my own life. The people that I've coached and other people that I know and things like that, where getting into this community, they just start leveling up if they take it seriously, and that's why, like, dude, it drives me nuts, man, when like what we do gets demonized, but we're actually the ones that are out there legitimately trying to help people, and yeah, man, I very well said, man. That's super dope. I always ask this of people who have a psychology background or a serious interest in it, or they are a psychologist, so I'm going to ask you the same thing, man. What's your take on NLP?
Officially, it's still considered a pseudoscience, which, let's be honest, what we teach is also considered a pseudoscience because it's too many extraneous variables. It's hard to test. But for the purpose of, I think why you're asking like how NLP works and whatnot, I believe in it to an extent. Like it does have an effect. I've seen the effect. I think it's great. One of my sound bites I like to say with this question of NLP is, I like to say NLP is like garlic. It goes with everything. Anything you do, if you can add an NLP element into it, it makes it better and it makes the dish really well. But by itself, it's kind of gross. Like no one's just gonna eat straight up garlic. So that's kind of like where I stand on that. Guys who I'm like, I'm gonna go up to a girl, I'm gonna NLP her. Like you're gonna be a weird fucking dude. Like if that's like, like it's just, that's by itself. You need more than that. However, if you understand neurolinguistic programming and what it actually does, and you use it here and there, then
but here's the deal, man, not to cut you off, but I don't mean specifically in a game sense. I don't mean like on some like RJ, like speed seduction stuff. I mean just in the overall scope of it.
I mean, look, NLP has taken what NLP has done. It has given effective ways of communication that helps rewire the mind, and I think it's borrowed a lot of real psychology into it. And taken ownership of it. I'll give you a classic example. You know what anchoring is, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How in the world is anchoring different than classical conditioning? They just renamed it.
Yeah.
If you understand what classical conditioning is and you understand what anchoring is, you just realize it's the same shit. So that's a proven obvious truth. In NLP, they'll say certain words create the feelings of desire to make action happen. So for instance, they'll say using the word because is an NLP trick, right? Yet, Maslow, who's also famous for his hierarchy of needs, he proved using justifications have a persuasive tool, and because is a justification word, right? So is it NLP or is it because of justification? We don't know, right? Yeah. It's it's whatever background you're kind of with. So, and the visualization techniques that NLP goes into, these are things that were done in the 70s and 60s before NLP was even invented, that were talked about in cognitive psychology, to how to rewire and rethink of the brain. So I think for the most part, it's a great tool. It does borrow on a lot of good stuff. I am not by any means an NLP master practitioner. I know guys who are. My good friend Hypnotica, he's NLP master, he does incredible shit. I think it's just, you gotta, it's more useful than meditation, but you got to use it for the tools it's used for, if that makes sense. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah, I'm a big NLP advocate. Anybody that knows me on a personal level, have been around me for any amount of time, like the NLP conversation.
For myself or for your game?
For myself.
Oh yeah, it's like NLP for yourself is another way of saying cognitive restructuring and changing the way you think. Yeah. So it's an amazing tool to do daily for yourself. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I've just seen a lot of different. Well, I mean, like it's like anything else, man. I mean, it's for me. It's for my life. But what does my life consist of? Is game a part of my life? Well, yes, it is. So then there's going to be, it's going to bleed over into that on some level. However, that being said, I'm not like the guy that's going to go around and, like, here's my my crazy long pattern that I'm about to spit to you right now. You know what I mean? And I'm trying, I've done it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it doesn't work, but what I am saying is that's just not me. That I'm not that guy, So
the roller coaster technique or the October Man sequence.
Right. Exactly. Although I will say this, there are some NLP things I do employ in my game that I just kind of sprinkle it. You know what I mean? Just
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
little pieces of it. I've tried everything, dude. I used to be a guy going around in the clubs trying to get girls to experience synesthesia. Like I'm trying to like brush her arm and make her like see a color and associate the color with an emotion that goes into her belly and it gets aroused.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I found is that shit's cool when a girl's already attracted to me. When she was attracted to me and I start doing shit like that, she gets like, oh my God, this is crazy, whatever. So
same experience, dude. Same experience.
There's a time and a place that it can be an amazing tool that, again, sprinkled on, it makes everything cool and better. Yeah. I just remember when I got into this, there were guys who were like NLP junkies who that's all they were doing. And they were literally going around trying to hypnotize women into sleeping with them. And I'm like, that's not, you're creepy. This is
yeah, that's a little weird to me, like, but I mean, I guess the counter argument to that would be, well, people hypnotize themselves. You don't actually hypnotize somebody. They hypnotize themselves. And so that's their way of, I guess, complying with wanting to sleep with you, so I guess that would be the counter argument.
Sure.
But yeah, but that's not me. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. Like I'm, trickery or something like that, like that's just not my get down. But yeah, man. I mean, look, dude, there was something, dude, there was a question that jumped in my head and it just jumped right back out of my head. Damn, what was it? Oh, I know what I was gonna say. So yeah, dude. I think like you said, NLP is considered a pseudoscience, right? And I think that's how it's classified to professionals,
Yeah.
But those types of things are so hard to test and so hard to examine and all that kind of thing, because you're dealing with people, man. It's not a an absolute, right? Because everybody's different.
That's why I prefaced it by saying what we do, teaching pickup or attraction or seduction or whatever you want to call it. This is also a pseudoscience. Like there's too many extraneous variables. You can't have an independent variable, a dependent variable in a experiment setting. you can only do so much with it, right? Some of it, social psychology has been done, but there's a limit. And even the ethics of it, like no psychologist in the world can be like, let's go and get us to try to attract a significant amount of women for statistical purposes and get easily attracted, and then we let them go and just go, no, this is just for a scientific experiment. Like that's unethical, right? So no matter what, it can't be taken as a science. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean that we haven't seen like you and I haven't seen the results it have in our lives and in other students. And the same goes for NLP. There are millions of cases of people who have used NLP for their own inner growth and business and communication skills that have succeeded incredibly well. So
yeah, man, like a lot of guys that I listen to, their podcasts and things like that. It's like one of those things, like if you know, like it won't be like, oh yeah, guys, you should totally do NLP or something like that. But they'll make a reference to something. I remember I was listening to a podcast or a video from Russell Brunson. All right.
Yep.
The ClickFunnels guy, for those that don't
Yep.
know. And, he even said it in there though. He was like, yeah, man, I don't know if you guys have ever studied NLP before, but this is an NLP technique that when I'm doing a sales call, this is something that I do, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of dope. Like he's kind of hip to NLP, obviously. But I've heard a lot of guys say stuff, or a lot of people say stuff that it's like, like it'll catch my ear. I'll be like, oh, okay, I see where they're coming from now. Okay.
Yeah.
They use some definite NLP type of vernacular. It's like, all right.
You can even say copywriting that has NLP, right? But again, like I think NLP has taken a lot of stuff from different places. Like I see language and NLP patterns that have been using copywriting. Really great copywriters in business terms that were going back in the 50s, in the 60s, and this is pre-NLP was even invented, right? So I think it's a mixed martial arts of how language and our thoughts work together.
That's a great way of putting it, man. That's a really great way of putting it. You ought to trademark that or something.
Yeah.
Like, sell it to them, because that's a really great way of putting it. And I, what? Like if you talk to like the guys that like started organizing NLP, guys like Richard Brand, I think his name's Richard Brandler. So I don't know, I forget their names. But I think that they make it very obvious, like, hey, we studied this and we took parts of this. Like, I don't think that they're trying to like pull one over on people like, well, I guess we're just geniuses and came up with all this. You know what I mean?
Like, who cares who came up with it? But all I care about is it beneficial? Is it effective?
True.
If it works and it benefits you, I don't care where it comes from. It could come from religion. It could come from a new experiment that just happened yesterday. Like, whatever. Most people, they're learning this stuff not because they need to know, like, oh, NLP, like whether you call it anchoring or you call it classical conditioning, who cares? It works. It works. Yeah. It doesn't matter what it, like, just do that. Like, make sure to either train yourself or to add it to your game or whatever. This is a technique that will benefit you, and it has been proven time and time again to be effective. I don't care where you learn it or what you call it, as long as you do it and you use it in your life.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. So when you started getting into game, switching gears a little bit, when you started getting into game, you started like finding out about the community, kind of going into the rabbit hole a little bit, as we all have those of us that have been in this community for a minute.
I was always Psych. It was my X-Men name.
But when you found out about it, right? You were this kid in high school, like all those crazy, just whack experiences that you dealt with and everything. When you found out about it, were you skeptical at all?
No, I was hopeful. I think the best thing that ever happened to me was the fact that I wasn't skeptical. I think that was okay. I think that was like the best part of it. I read the book, The Game or whatever, and instantly my eyes were opened. I was like, well, first I was like, is this shit true? Is this real? Does this actually happen? And I searched online. I'm like, no, this is like a real thing. There's real people like this. This is like going on. This isn't like a fake fictional story, right?
Yeah.
And I was so like, I knew I sucked. I knew I needed help. I knew it was bad for me. For me, it was like, oh my God, there's an answer. Now, do I know it works, whatever? No, but I know there's people who say it works, and that's good enough for me, because the alternative is nothing. The alternative is I keep living a shitty existence that I'm not happy and growing and figuring this out. Because literally, what is the alternative? I'm like, all right, I'm just going to keep living this life. I'm not getting dates, not getting women. I'm going to just keep on waiting, and I'm going to, to see that there's these guys who went from a nerd who didn't know what the hell they're doing, and to see that like they cracked it, they went out and they had incredible sexual adventures and dated gorgeous women and had friends. I was like, oh my God, this is the answer I've been waiting for. I didn't know this was a thing. So I was so blindly, maybe because I was young and naive, like maybe that has something to do with it. Thank God I wasn't old and jaded when I discovered it, because being young and naive or whatever, I went pedal to the metal. I went crazy, like into it. I immediately was like, I devoured the information. I started going out 6 nights a week. I was just like, this is a thing. It works. Although I did have, so this is kind of funny. The first time I went out, I did have, here's what actually led to it, I guess. Now that I think about it, you're going to laugh at this story. So this is a story of my first ever approach. This is my virginity of cold approach.
All right, here we go.
All right.
I'm ready.
And I think this led to my faith. So I'm 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I read the game. I got this, I got the book. I got all these lines of what to say to women. And my buddy's like, we got to do it. I want to see you do one. And I'm like, okay, I'll try. I'll see what happens. But I'm like, where can we go? I'm 20. We can't go to a bar or club or anything. And we're thinking, and he goes, hey, my parents are going to be at this cancer walkathon, and there'll be some girls there our age. You could do it there. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Let's try that. Yeah. So we go to the cancer walkathon, and we're walking in a circle, and then all of a sudden there's 2 girls walking towards me, and he's like nudging me. He's like, do the thing with the book. Do it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So I go up to him and I go, hey, excuse me, did you see that fight outside?
You went with that one, huh?
Yeah, because that's the only thing I knew. I was like, did you see that fight outside? And then it kind of dawned on me, even then, not knowing anything, all of a sudden, as soon as I said it, I realized, number one, we're already outside.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, we're already outside. And number 2, who the fuck is fighting at a cancer walkathon? So the girl looks concerned. The girl that looks at me with concern, she goes, where? What? And I'm like, there. I just point randomly, and I look over, and there's nothing there. It's just a field with a fence. There's literally nothing over there. And they look at me with like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And they go, okay. And they just keep walking off. So I didn't know any better. I'm just like, well, this doesn't work. This is all bullshit. It's like, I didn't know. I'm just like, I said the Harry Potter line, and nothing happened. But my friend was like, dude, no, that was awesome. That was amazing. That was so funny. Okay, here, let's do it again. Let's try it one more time. I'll introduce you to my friend Michelle from high school, and do something to her. And I'm like, okay, I guess, but I don't think this works, man. So he introduces me to his friend Michelle, and I run the cube, like a very short version of the cube that I do now.
Love the cube.
And the cube, right? The great, amazing routine. And she goes, oh my God, that's so cool. Hold on, stay right here. You've got to try and do that to my friend Sarah. And she runs off and grabs your friend Sarah, who then was like, that's amazing. You got to do this to my friend Rachel. And next thing I know, I'm sitting in a field, like Indian cross sitting, and I'm surrounded by 5 girls who are hanging on every word I'm saying, doing this fucking cube thing. Okay. And I've never in my life experienced that before, where women were interested in me. They're intrigued by me. They were hanging on my words, and I'm surrounded by them. I have never had that in my life. My dog's freaking out. I've never had that in my life before. And I think that's what sold me. Again, a very dancing monkey. Looking back, I was a dancing monkey. It was all about
that's day one, man.
Right. But it gave me the faith. I think like
that's dope, man.
And being like, oh my God, this is magic. I've never had that. And honestly, when I went out like religiously 6 nights a week, you couldn't keep me in the house. when I was going out practicing this stuff, it really wasn't what guys are doing now. It wasn't to get laid. That was never the carrot for me. The carrot was I wanted to be the guy that could walk up to anyone and strike up a conversation, and magic happened where like I am intriguing and they are hanging on my every word and I'm getting them to laugh on command and I can do this cool like to me that was the magic. It was like getting like a cherry on top.
Yeah,
it was a journey to it of really being able to give this girl an incredible adventure with me and have her getting and seeing that process, knowing that I have the control to like walk up to someone and create that attraction from nothing and know what to do, what to say, how to move it forward. Like it was magic. And that is the level of like wonder and feeling that guys now coming into it, they just do not get. It's all like, dope, yo, what do I say to get her to hook up? What's my opener so I can get laid? I'm like, you're missing you know?
Yeah, you're missing like all the middle. All of it.
Of the middle. Guys look at the middle as an annoyance.
Right.
They look at the middle as like
oh, let me drudge through this, I guess, since it's what I gotta do.
Guys come to me and they're like, it feels like a work. It feels like a job. I have to do this, I have to do this just to get laid. And I'm like, but that's why it feels like work, because you're not enjoying the process. You only enjoy getting laid, and that's a superficial enjoyment.
Right. I've had this same exact conversation with a student just recently where I'm just like, man, like, I just want to like baby shake syndrome you to death right now. Like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, why do you, because that's the thing. He's just like, dude, I just want to fuck, man. Just want to fuck.
And go to a hooker.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, why are you paying me that? 'Cause I ain't gonna fuck you. Like, go see them. So, dude, I'm with you 100%. The middle part is, to me, like, that's the best part, man. I tell everybody this. You brought up the cube. Like, my whole game is predicated on me getting to the cube.
Yep.
If I can get to the cube, I know it's a wrap. It's a wrap. That all I have to do is get to the cube. And obviously you're not going to walk up like as an opener, like, ever heard of the cube? You know what I mean? You're not going to do that. But that's the thing, is I want to work up to it. And I enjoy that process. It's fun to me, and you're right. So many guys miss that. Like, dude, like you were talking about, like, you should have went the full opener though with those girls at the cancer walk. You've been like, yeah, those two girls over there, they was fighting, and
over a short bald guy.
Yeah, a boob popped out. Normally I'm good for seeing a ripe one, but this one was a saggy one. National
Geographic.
Right, exactly. Like at a cancer walk. She might only have one boob. Oh, that was in bad taste, but but yeah, man, like for me, like when I saw, like I could see it, like how it would work, but so I had faith in it before it actually worked for me, because I could see how it could work. And the first number close that I got was this girl, like, I had a huge crush on. She was a stylist at the haircut place that I used to go to. I don't know if they have these in Florida or New York. I guess did you grow up in New York?
My parents are from New York. I grew up here.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know if they have these kind of places where you're at. It's very popular here in Detroit. It's like there's mad chains of these haircut spots for guys where it's hot girls. They're dressed in club wear, cutting your hair. All right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I always tell my guys that's the best place to like actually work your way through an interaction, because you have 20 minutes to a half hour of you sitting there, and she is so tired of hearing guys talk about the weather and what they did last weekend. Yep. Like, you're going to make her day by having like an interesting conversation with her. So anyway, this girl that cut my hair, I would always book her to cut my hair. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start running some game on her. And so I did, and then I number closed her, and I was just like looking at my phone like, oh my God, because I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, well, I'm all in. Chips are all in right now because this fucking works. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude. So that's kind of my story, man. But listen, dude, it's been an hour, man. Can you believe it?
Dude, time flew. That was. I could do this forever.
I know. Same way, dude. Same way, bro. But maybe we should, maybe we should cut it here.
Sure.
Unless do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to push? Anything like that?
I'm obviously, I have one thing. I don't believe in like all these different tiers, whatever. I've got my program. If guys want to go like elite level mentorship, I put my all into that program, and guys can come and check it out. Check out my YouTube channel, Modern Flirting. I got a free Facebook group. Again, just type in Modern Flirting Dating Advice. You can go to my Facebook group to learn. I give free stuff there all the time. I'll do one better though for anybody watching this.
Yeah.
If if you're out there watching this and you're interested, you want to learn more, you want to, really get be held by the hand and get mentorship, or you just want to free shit, I'll tell you what. Message me on Facebook or email me at Psych at modernflirting.com or Instagram, Jared Psych Laurence, Facebook Jared Psych Laurence. Anyways, message me on any one of these platforms and just say you heard about me from Dale. I will send you my book, Psychology of Modern Flirting, for free. That's $25 on Amazon. I'll give it to anybody who mentions this and stick around to the end for free. That's my gift for the listeners here.
That's dope, man. That's super dope. Yeah. So guys, look, if you're watching this and you like the conversation that we've been having, and I know that you do, hit him up, man. Get that book, and I know that there's going to be a ton of value in it just because, like I said, I know the guy, I see the output that he puts out there, and it's super dope, man. So you're going to be doing yourself a huge favor by doing that. So make sure you do that soon. Don't sleep on it. Just get it done, man. Takes you 2 seconds to message him, So get out there and make it happen, So listen, Jared, man, I am could not be happier that we had the opportunity to do this. I can't wait to get this out there. And I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being on here with me and chopping it up and having a great conversation. And I'm looking forward to much more in the future, man.
Let's crush it, brother. Thanks for having me.
No worries. All right, guys. Salute.